Well, hello YouTube, and welcome to another video on my channel. It has been a minute, and today I'm so excited to bring you this video. I'm so excited because I opened my door today and there was a big box from ShinHan Art. I was not expecting a box full of art supplies, and so yeah, I can't wait to see what's inside. Let's open it, and I'm sure there's some fun art materials inside that we can use. Yeah, so let's see what they sent me. Oh wow. Oh wow, I know what they sent. So this is wow. This is a big bottle of ShinHan PASS Hybrid White. So I've been wanting to try the ShinHan PASS paints for a really long time. The PASS paints are a hybrid watercolor and gouache paint, and oh my gosh, wow, wow, wow. I'm so excited. I've wanted to try these for so long. I'm so curious about these paints. They also sent some touch liners. Okay, so I'm going to get this out of my way, and I'll be back. Wow, this was really super generous and thoughtful of them. They sent me a set of their touch liners in, what is that? A cool gray. They know how much I like to sketch in like a gray ink. I really prefer to draw with like a gray ink because it looks like pencil. And so, wow, this is now, I only have a couple of, liner pens like that. And they sent me a full set this is with different widths. This is, what is this? Is this the chisel or brush? Oh yeah, here's a chisel. Oh, I'm so excited to have, yeah, different nibs of the cool gray to sketch with. I really like sketching with the gray ink, like I said, because it looks like graphite, and then I can do like line and wash with it. Oh, there's a brush pen too. And I really like the sketchy look of it. Yeah, a lot of my work is really whimsical and sketchy, and so that really adds that sketchy element to it that I like. They sent me some more of their touch markers in the past, some opaque paint markers, which I really enjoyed. So I'm excited to try out their micron pens. That'll be fun to use all these products together. And this was really nice of them to send 2 giant bottles of the hybrid white to add in to use with the box of gouache. So this is a full set of the ShinHan PASS hybrid watercolor and gouache. This is the set of 48 20 milliliter tubes. It has all 48 colors in this set. And while this set was sent to me, it currently retails on Amazon for $167. And for 48 tubes, that comes out, I think, to like $3.33 a piece, which I think is incredibly fairly priced, especially for, for professional art supplies, and compared to what other 20 milliliters of gouache or watercolors cost. So anyway, all ShinHan products come with really lovely brochures. When you get a new product, I highly recommend you spend some time looking at the information booklet. Most companies really spend time on this brochure, and it has so much information about the paints. This one tells us that it is a new medium with unbelievably smooth transition. It's a hybrid of premium watercolor and gouache. And on the back, it actually has the composition and permanence table. So, I mean, it is just chock full of, everything that you would possibly want to know about these paints. Yeah, the pigment information, light fastness, the color range. Yeah, binder information oftentimes. So yeah, definitely don't overlook the brochures. I did for a long time, and I'm grateful that I started doing otherwise. So these are like plastic tubes, and yeah, I'm excited. All right, so it comes with a nice range. ShinHan packaging is typically very sturdy in the past, and this is, no exception. We've got 2 levels of paints, and yeah, I'm super excited to try these. I've been getting into a lot of mixed media, and I use watercolor and gouache a lot in the same painting, and so this to me just seemed like a dream, right? So yeah, settle in and we will get to swatching. All right, so here I am with a voiceover. I have clearly sped up my swatch sesh because it did take some time. There are 48 colors to swatch out, and I was relaxing and really kind of exploring when I did this. But hopefully, you'll be able to get good visual of how these paints are acting. So the way I was swatching these out is I was just dipping my wet brush into whatever paint was in the cap when I uncapped each color. And I was so surprised at the consistency of this paint. So when I first dip my brush into the cap, it seems like, a wet watercolor, maybe a wet opaque watercolor. But then once it touches water, the consistency of the paint completely changes. It's not like rewetting watercolor, or even when you're dipping your wet brush into like wet gouache or wet watercolor, and you know how you can incorporate the water pretty easily. This was like the second it touched the water, a reaction happened. And the viscosity of the paint changed, and as did the dispersion of the pigment. So, typically with gouache, you can water it down, but you don't really get like a watercolor effect if you water down gouache, because the pigment microns are larger, and that's what makes the paint more opaque. And so it also, when you water it down, it doesn't typically disperse like watercolor, because gouache is meant to be an opaque medium and stay where you lay. So you want, when you put gouache down on your paper, it's meant to stay there and not have pigment disperse, so that you get an opaque result. With watercolor, on the other hand, a lot of times companies will put in dispersing agents, like Core has their Aquasol, I think it's called, and in other watercolors use Oxcal as their like flow medium. And that's why with Core watercolors, like you just drop pigment into the water and it just goes kind of, the pigment will move. So yeah, when you are using gouache as a watercolor, it's hard to get the pigment where you want it to go. So with this, however, it's a completely different experience. When I'm adding water to this paint, you can see how evenly the pigment is dispersed, and I'm still getting that even disbursement of pigment that you would hope to get in a gouache. So here, this is a shadow green that was just so dark that I just wanted to water it down. And that was just out of the cap. I mean, I cannot express how pigmented this paint is. Now, I will tell you, like, the consistency out of the tube, it's not all as thick as you might expect it to be. It's not going to look like, if you're used to working with ShinHan's regular gouache, it's similar, but I would say slipperier. if that makes sense. The consistency is a bit different, and not quite as firm. Some paints were, some paints a little bit less so. I do a painting here after the swatching in real time, and you'll be able to see how the paints squeeze out on my palette. So, yeah, I am super impressed and mesmerized by these, to be quite honest. I'm just so interested. I had watched a couple of other videos, other reviewers, to see what they had to say about this. And one had suggested that perhaps there's like a leveling agent in there. I don't know the sorcery, but it is cool. And these paints are just really, it's a new medium. I mean, that's what they say in their brochure, and they're not lying. It truly is a new medium and quite a lot of fun. I was really curious about these paints. I am a watercolorist at heart. When I discovered gouache, I mean, it was just, and then I started doing kind of mixed media stuff, and these past couple of years really been getting it, and mixed media stuff. And so, those supplies, they add up and they're bulky and stuff. And I also do a lot of food illustration, and I've been getting more into plein air. And so I've been carrying my gouache and watercolor with me when I go on plein air, when I go out to eat and stuff, painting what I eat. And it's just getting bulky. So I was really looking for kind of a more slimline solution when I came across these PASS paints, and thought that might suit my purpose to get me the really illustrative look that I was looking for when I was out painting my food, because, frankly, I'm just kind of getting kind of an urban sketch look to my paintings when I'm out to my food, and I want a more illustrative look. So we'll see. I'm really excited to try that out with these gouache paints and these PASS paints, And the other really lovely thing that I noticed about this set is that it's got a great range. And you'll see here is a neon. And so this set comes with 5 neons. It comes with an orange, that pink, a blue, a green, so it comes with a set of 5 neons, and I have been in the search for neon gouache. In fact, I had tried, I bought a set of gouache. It was awful. Earlier this year, some neon gouache. It just was it was just not good. I really enjoy incorporating neon watercolors into my work and mixing them in. So, I would I'd love to explore that with gouache. And so when I saw that they had included 5 kind of neon colors in this, I was so excited. And, that is, they include an opera rose and a rose. I'll show you the range here. We're almost done swatching. And then at the end, I do, towards the end, rather, the real-time painting that I do is of a hamburger, which is the kind of work that I want to do with this. And, when I'm out, I've been sketching with, those cool, a cool gray micron pen, because I really like that sketchy look. And the gray pens, they look like graphite, and they're, waterproof. So they're great for, line and wash stuff. So we'll explore some of these supplies here in a minute. And please let me know down below if you have the PASS paints and if you've explored them. I'd really like to know what your experience has been. And while you're at it, please give me a thumbs up and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you. Thank you in advance. I'm going to paint a hamburger here, and hopefully you can see more in my painting the consistency change when I add water to the paint here on the paper. And I'm really trying to stretch the range of this paint to see, how thin I can make it, and if I can use it as a gouache. So here I'm attempting to shape up a bun, and I'm using just some yellow ochre and seeing just how these behave. I'm really impressed. It's truly like a watercolor. I'm using this truly like a watercolor now. And then going down, you can see how thick. I wouldn't even describe it as thick. I'd say how pigmented I'm able to get it. That's what it is. It's like the paint doesn't I don't know. Okay. So you can water it down to like a watercolor consistency, but when you add water to it, it's so pigmented, it doesn't change like the pigment load. It just changes the flow. And so it's really easy to get the paint to a consistency that is comfortable for you to paint with. These paints were really easy for me to work with. I don't know how easy they would be for a beginner. But if you're comfortable working with watercolor and you have, been wanting to explore gouache, I would definitely recommend these. And if you've done both, I would still recommend these. These are just really, really cool paints. They mixed really, really well together. And you'll see here, the other thing is I was able to correct mistakes and change things as I wanted to. And they didn't lift too easily. I was able to lift if I needed to, but they didn't reactivate so easily underneath. So here is what I'm talking about. Here's an example of what I was talking about. So I wanted to make my bun a little bit bigger. Initially, I was leaving some space for lettuce, but then I thought, well, no, I kind of want to see how they layer in a gouache kind of way. So I decided to fatten up my burger there. And I think that this did a really good job of being able to do that. I feel. So then I wanted to go in and, add some toastiness on top of my bun and try layering. And I was able to layer there pretty easily. Now here I'm going to attempt to add some green on top of the brown and kind of incorporate some lettuce and see how this works. And I had a lot of fun with this painting. I really didn't want to stop. I kept painting and painting and painting. And since I was done with this painting, I've painted a lot with these paints. I really, I can see them becoming my very, very favorite paints to work with. It's a different medium. I mean, it's a familiar medium because of the watercolor and gouache, but the way that you can toggle between the two so easily it's just really cool. And I was really happy with the way that my hamburger was able to shape up. And I wasn't even using a reference photo, by the way. I was just thinking about the hamburger that I wanted to eat and envisioning that, honest to goodness. And since I painted this, I've had 3 hamburgers that I've made myself. I was really craving hamburgers for some reason. But anyway, so here I am trying to put some sesame seeds on top. And I achieved this by using some of the white gouache with a little bit of yellow ochre in it. Making some sesame seeds on top. And then I took some of the, what is that color? Was it the burnt umber? Burnt sienna, maybe? I'm looking at burnt, yeah, that was the burnt sienna. And taking just a little bit of the burnt sienna there and providing a shadow and definition. This is like a real-time painting, and it did not take me time at all, a long time at all. And I think that I was able to get a pretty realistic hamburger looking thing going here without even a sketch or a reference photo. So I like to paint food. That's actually why I wanted to try these paints out, because I wanted to do I wanted to start like a plein air pastry food painting club or whatever. But I paint a lot while I'm out with food. I love to paint my food. And I thought this would be such a cool medium to do that with, and it is. I was hoping to get these allow me to get these really illustrative photos or excuse me, paintings. And this is going to do exactly what I was hoping it would do. Here I'm telling you, I had such a good time with these supplies. I decided to keep going. And so I painted, I drew out a little kind of deli paper for my burger to sit on. And I did that with the cool gray liner. And here, now I just want you to see, I used a little bit of red with a little bit of white. And I want you to see how far this just one load on my brush goes. It's just, these paints are so pigmented. I'm able to do so much, and I love it. I love the way it looks with very, very little pigment. Do you see? I reloaded very, very little bit and able to get some really nice variations. Here, I think I just added a little water to my brush because I really wanted to see how far that paint that was in my brush would go. And so those liners are waterproof, by the way. And I think hopefully now you can see, though I didn't sketch out my burger, hopefully you can kind of see why I like to sketch with those like cool gray liners, because it just does leave that kind of sketchy pen look to it when I'm doing line and wash. And I find that when I do line and wash with like black micron pens, so, a lot of times it's just too much definition. And so I can build up more with a gray micron pen than with the black. Here I'm going in with some indigo for shading, just to do kind of, and it's a beautiful color. I mean, you can see, it had a little bit of red in there for the shadow. Look at how evenly the pigment lays. I think you can just do the most beautiful illustrative work with these paints. I'm in love. I'll link everything down below. You can get these liners on Amazon too. Here we go. I'll show you another close-up end of the swatch. Please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't. You'll see lots more of these paints. A lot more of these paints. Here are all the swatches up close. And I didn't even do anything too extensive to see how thick these will go yet, or a lot of work with the other liner pens or anything yet. But thank you all so much for sticking around and painting with me today. An extra thank you to ShinHan for sending me out such a cool box of products to play with. I really appreciate it. Till next time, everybody, take good care. Bye.